What's going on, guys? We're back with another cool episode. Today, we've got my homegirl, Krissy Koch, and we're going to be talking about how she's writing her new book, how she's been speaking to tons of plant based athletes, and living on a plant based diet and using it to heal yourself.
Okay, so here's the big problem. You want to live plant based and excel at your health and performance. You're looking for real ways to change your life and the world by reducing your footprint. How do we continue to perform in every facet of our lives and do it without eating meat and following the format that's been force fed to us our entire lives? And do it on your own terms through a plant based diet? That's the real question, and I'll give you those answers and more. I'm Marcus Watts, and welcome to the Vegan Transition.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Marcus, and today we have my good friend Krissy on, and we're going to talk about her new book about living plant based and strong. Okay, Krissy, thank you so much for being on. I'm really excited. This is our second conversation because last time it was you interviewing me, but thank you so much
Right.
for being on.
Thanks, Marcus. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, last time that we talked, I really was compelled by like your energy and just how much knowledge you had and how you're really trying to find the right people to share your vantage point on living plant-based and trying to get what I think is going to be a really cool resource out to people. So please tell people a little bit about your backstory and about what you're trying to accomplish with this book first off.
My backstory, like long story short, is that I come from a completely country. I'm from Germany and I have a completely different background, but food was always one of my biggest things in life. Like from the health perspective, from the environmental perspective, from the perspective, which is a spiritual and emotional perspective too. Um, I always found that food is healing. Food can destroy you and it can heal you. It connects people. It brings people together, and you learn through food, different cultures, and yeah, it's just like the biggest connection point in everybody's life. So when I moved here, I switched into food journalism. I published two cookbooks in Europe so far, and this is going to be my third book. And so the whole idea is I'm vegan myself, and I became vegan like. Mm, so I haven't really been eating meat for the last 10 years, like regularly.
Wow.
And then I gave up on fish like 3 years ago. I would still have it like maybe 3, 4 times a year, but not really on a daily basis. And I really didn't like to cook with meat. So the first thing that I asked myself was like, this is so weird. Like if I don't want to cook with meat, what does it say about me? What does
Yeah.
it say about the dead animal that's in front of me? Like
Right.
I don't like it because this is more like a dead body, or I don't like the texture. And I'm pretty sure it's not about that because I was growing up like my dad would went fishing, and then he would always bring back home fish, and then he would like use each little part for like soups and everything. So that was most likely not the reason for me. I just felt it's just not real for me. It's not who I am to use something or to cook with something if or to eat something if I don't like to cook it. So I
Yeah.
stopped like cooking it, and then I would still have it once in a while outside, and then um like throughout the time I just became vegan, doing all the research, having all the information in front of me that I have. And so just to mention, so I have a master's degree in engineering. So my brain is very analytical. So for me, it's really like, okay, I'm very curious, always been that way. I just want to know everything and I want to understand it. And once I had all these information, I was bummed because to me, it was like, okay, here I am growing up in Germany, coming from a country where you eat meat even more often than you do here, and then realizing, wow, we eat so much meat, and this was wrong. This was like they told us it is good, but all of these studies show the opposite, and there are no studies that show meat is really good for you or
Yeah.
milk, right? So for me, that was really devastating. So it was like slowly transitioning. I guess just because it was my own thing with me, with myself. It was not like trying to prove anyone anything. It was just me and the knowledge that I gained over time.
Hmm.
So obviously, the last book that I published was vegan too, and after that, a lot of people came to me and was like, "Oh my God, you're vegan," especially because I like to work out myself and definitely not a bodybuilder, not even close to that. But I like to work out regularly, almost every day. And so a lot of people that I meet in the gym, they, of course, like, like you start like talking and they're like, so
Right.
what do you eat? Like, what's your favorite food? And then they find out that I like to cook, and they're like, so what do you like to cook? Can you cook me like a nice steak? I'm like, nah, I'm not eating meat. Like, I don't do any animal products. And they would always go biggest thing, right? The second part was always like, okay, but it can't be healthy. It's not good for your hormones. But like, okay, if I'm gonna eat tofu all every day, then the estrogen so bad
Right.
for me. I'm gonna get like man boobs and stuff like that. There are so many things that I had to always like talk against, and that became really annoying. I mean, it was not annoying for me to tell those people. It was almost like I felt like I'm telling them a lie, right? So that's kind of the mindset that I already had. Even though I love to talk about food, I love to spread my knowledge. I love to talk
Mm.
about people, like with people about it who are actually interested in that. Only people who are interested in that,
Right.
because I
Right.
don't want to be a pushy vegan.
Right.
And yeah, so I like to share my knowledge with people who are interested and ask questions. So a lot of people ask me those questions and would constantly come to me and say like, well, because you're doing so well with cooking and all your projects and everything, so what am I supposed to eat? Tell me. Right. So that's when we actually decided to come up with a meal prep book. And when we started doing that, what I found is that I have lots of knowledge when it comes to what ingredients go well together, and like food prep. And I had all these ideas. I literally could write all the recipes down within like probably 5 hours for like the entire book, and that would be easy for me. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it a completely different way. Why don't we just go ahead and interview vegan athletes, right? To just really see, okay, so those people, they're athletes, they're bodybuilders, they like to work out, they look amazing, they show results already, right? From like some of them are like 10 years already vegan, some of them are only 2 months vegan. So we have like so many people interviewed so far that we have a bunch of people like from 10 years to like 1 month or 2 months experiences, and see like how people started off, like what it was back then, how it is back now, like what the changes are, different age groups, different goals too. So for me, that was like one of the biggest things to really show the person who opens up this book, it's a real thing. Those people, they show results, and those people who ask me all of these questions, most of them, they don't even look like those people are in that book, and they eat meat. So for me, that's the biggest result. Like I always think like don't speak a lot about things, just let the results speak for yourself. And then people will follow, people will understand, they will be interested. Because that's for me, in my opinion, the biggest thing. You have to make people be interested. Because if there's no interest, people will not take the time to actually work themselves through a topic, because it is a lots of knowledge, in my opinion, if you're not familiar with that, to go through and unlearn the old things and learn the new things.
Wow. There's so much awesome stuff that you shared there. A couple things that stand out. Um, One, I didn't know that you had some other books out, so now I have to
I
go find
do.
them and I have to go support them. And then number two,
Thank
I think that you do make a good point that coming from Europe, a lot of people don't know how much more like in America we think that we consume a lot of meat, but I'm from growing up in Germany. You know what I mean? Living in South America, you know, as a man, living back overseas, playing basketball, Portugal, New Zealand, all that stuff. Um, it's way different. It's so much more. I just interviewed David Cleary, who is he's actually from Ireland. And I
hmm
mean, literally the whole diet is like meat and
Meat.
potatoes and dairy. I mean, I thought that in like the States that we barbecued a lot until I went to South America. And I was like, man, not only are they like barbecuing way more, but like the sheer like quantity that they're cooking is, you know what I'm saying, more too. It was just very different for me.
Totally.
But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. So tell me, what is it that you want to accomplish with the book? Like, what do you want people to get from it, you know?
That's a very good question. So definitely, it's for people who are willing to, who first of all, for people who don't have time or have a lot of time. Because my goal obviously is to come up with recipes. A meal prep book means that they have meal prep recipes that they can do in one day to create really amazing healthy recipes throughout the entire week in no time, right? So that's the entire goal, without like having the nutritional value and having the taste value too, because a lot of people don't care about
You have to enjoy
the
it.
taste.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
just happy with the nutritional value, the macros. Exactly. But then I really want to cover it all. So I want to have the nutritional facts covered, the macros, and also the taste. And it's really for people who are vegan, or for people who want to give it a shot, like to really just see, like, of course, like just like to also point out what you said last time, which I totally agree with you, that nobody should really do that. I mean, they could, if you have a really strong mindset, if you want to go cold turkey, do it, go vegan, but it's going to be challenging, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
in the end of the day, you might want to blame it on the vegan lifestyle, which is so wrong, because if you tried something in the wrong way, then you can't blame it on the veganism, where if you think of it about it, like there's so many people who's been doing that successfully and look great and feel great. So it can't be too wrong, right? It can't be wrong. So a lot of people do that. So it's definitely for someone who's interested, even like incorporating some of those recipes in their normal diet, maybe that's definitely a goal. And definitely for people who doubt that you can work out, be athletically like really active, and or like physically very active, and get all your nutrients covered. So
Yeah, no, you made a good point. And for if you haven't, like, obviously in the interview that we did, we actually did a live on Instagram. If you guys missed that, and then you'll see it when it's in the book. But a lot of times, I just was talking with David Cleary about this as well. And it's like
mhm,
most people that we'll find coming from the nutritional, like, exercise standpoint, most people already are in a caloric deficit. So most people that come into my programs, like, and same thing for David, he's like, they're already under eating. You know what I mean?
mhm,
So now you're naturally already in a what's called a caloric deficit, right?
mhm,
Now you're gonna only have plants, and because you don't have a wealth of knowledge, or you're not
mhm,
seeking out resources like yourself, now you kind of restrict yourself to even less food because you have literally less options to eat. So now you're in even
right,
more of a caloric deficit. And most times, um, it's even more of a micronutrient deficit because people will start eating like vegan junk food or things like that,
right,
instead of like, hey, let's find out how much you should be eating. You know what I mean?
right,
Every day right now, to just be the weight you are, find out exactly what your caloric intake should be if you want to be losing some fat, and then make sure that you're getting a super nutrient dense diet. And a lot of people are not doing that. So I think that what you're
right,
kind of sharing will help people to do it the right way. And I feel like that's kind of what we're all out to do in our own way, is give people the resources so they can start to explore. And I totally agree with you. Like you said, I never tell anybody to just go cold turkey. Can people do it? Yes. Like, but do I suggest it? No, because the chance of you not succeeding is a lot higher than you succeeding, unless you go out and you find David Carter and Tori Washington, and you go and you come across Nemai's bodybuilding, vegan bodybuilding food page, and you find all these bloggers where you can see like the variety that can be created. So I think you're giving people the ability, and that's what we all need to really do, is give people the ability to learn more and to be able to solve this problem. And it's like, if you're going to do it, which we all hope that you will, just start experimenting with it and make sure that your
right.
focus is like a nutrient dense diet. Because I find so many people I'm like, what do you think I eat? Like, I'm not just eating like, carrots and spinach. Like, I'm having
Lettuce.
yeah. I'm
with
having like a
some water.
variety of food,
Are
you
you
know?
down, Marcus?
So tell me, what have you, in what you've kind of heard in your interviews and stuff, and your own experience, what do
Mhm,
you find people are struggling with when they're trying to make this move? You know what I'm saying? And I know that they're going to learn this, you know, if
mhm.
you guys go out and get the book, which you should, like, I know they're going to learn that, but what have you found, you know, has been this recurring theme that people struggle with this, whether it's things that you heard from me and the athletes, or that people just come and ask you?
I mean, one thing I really have to point out before I even get to that point is to also make clear that the people that I was or that I have been talking to or we've been talking to, those people are bodybuilders, right?
Mhm.
Like those people
High
been working out.
performance.
Yeah, they have a specific mindset. It's different from other people, right? So a lot of times the way they look, it's so like the way they look and the way they feel and the performance. So this all together is the most important thing for them, right?
Mm,
So I found that most of the people really haven't really had any challenges because um or at least they don't remember. They were so focused on the goals. They had their informations. They a lot of those people just gave it a try and felt incredible after like even sometimes after 2 or 3 weeks already. Right after the short like detox
yep.
time, they felt incredible and they felt okay. If I feel incredible, if I feel less pain, let's say they had inflammation in their knees or in their ankles or something like, and that was better by the way
Mm,
they were eating, and then they felt more energetic and the entire like better than it was before. I mean, why wouldn't you continue,
that's such a, you're making such a
right?
good point. Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
because yeah, yeah. I
and
mean,
that's like what I
exactly.
it's so I mean, of course, like those people, I have really high respect of those people because they value their bodies a lot and they come with so much self-respect towards what they look, what how they feel, and how they perform. Like I met, for example, Monk last weekend, I think 2 weeks ago, it was 1 week or last week on the vegan street fair. And then we went all and had like later we went and went to a restaurant and we had like a talk with everyone and what I told them, like they looked at me, it was so sweet. Uh, he looked at me and I said, you know what? What I love about people like you guys is that you have like 24 hours. You have like it, power and energy available, like on 24/7. Like it's just there. Like you carry it around like every single second. It's just
Mhm.
there, right? So for me, that's an incredible thing. Like I admire that because it comes with a lot of work and patience. And you know, like you build muscles and in like you break muscles in the gym, but you feed them in the kitchen. So without the food, there are no really nice goals. Like everyone's gonna tell you that, right? And you know that yourself. You
Yeah.
told me that yourself. So everyone knows who was preparing for a show without the food. There's nothing you can do really.
Hmm.
Like you can break your muscle as much as you want, but you will not get your results if you eat the right things. And if you get like that's what I always say. Let me ask you, like, if you get your results in whatever way, if you're competing or not competing, in a way that's healthier for you, that's gonna make you younger or keep you younger longer, that's gonna help your entire body system. You're on a constant healthy detox every single day, and it's good for the environment and it's good for your soul. Like, wouldn't you even like try like
Yeah.
to do it? You know? So I think that's like what my feeling is about
Yeah.
the whole vegan lifestyle.
You and I talked about this, and I of course, like, I didn't know that these same things were happening when you spoke to other athletes, but I could imagine that it was the same. And you do make a good point. And this is what I think when I say, you know, we're talking about two types of people, like the high performance, and there are people that are not like bodybuilding champs and former pro
Right.
athletes like me that are high performance, right? But there's the high performance person, and then there's the everyday, like, want to get fit person. And the
Right.
person that's high performance has a long history of performance. So they've been doing different types of training. They've had a lot of injuries. They've had a lot of ups. They've had a lot of downs. You know, I've been training pretty much, geez, when I look back at it, it's like, you know, since I was 7 years old, 8 years old, I started every single day, you know, and it just, the higher up you go, the more the training increases. So by the time, you know, I'm 26, 27, I know my body very well. I know when it's going to be a good day. I know when it's going to be a bad day. I know when I need to take a rest. I know when I haven't been doing the things that I need to with my hydration, I can pinpoint it right down. And I think it's such a good point to understand that when you know how your body performs, and you don't need to be high performance to do that, you just need to pay attention to your body. Once I started with the plants, and I was like, a day after working out, I was like, all right, let's do it again. And then I was like, okay, let's do it again. And I was like, oh, wow, like I'm recovering really fast. And it just became more of an experiment. Just like you said, oh, the swelling in my joints are down. I don't have joint pain. When I go play basketball, I might not have to warm up as much. You know what I mean? Just as when you're paying attention to these little things, including, which a lot of people kind of ignore it, but bowel movements. When you're paying attention to these things, you're like, yo, my body is performing. And I think that is something that I can't stress enough. If you're just give things a try and listen to what your body tells us. With all my clients, that's what I say. They're like, okay, well, what are we going to do? I'm like, well, we're going to start here, and then we're going to do what your body tells us. As long as your body's responding, there's no need for us to change anything. Once your body starts to adjust, you know, then we need to kind of catch it off guard. And in this case, we're talking about like fat loss or nutrition. But when it comes to performance, it's the same thing. As long as you're getting stronger, okay, we're doing the right things. If not, we got to listen to what your body's telling us and find a new way of figuring it out. So I hadn't really thought of that, because I think as an athlete, you get so immersed in it that, you know what I mean, that you think everybody does it, you know? So.
And you know, what I always find very surprising is the fact that it's not that being vegan is a superpower. That's how you're supposed to be. Like, supposed to eat, and that's how you're supposed to feel on an everyday basis.
That is
The thing
exactly
is,
how you're supposed to feel. Yeah.
like, exactly, but we don't know that because we've been like eating so much dairy, so many animal products that we just don't never feel that great. So for people who make that switch, they feel the change, right? And then they call it superpowers. There is no such thing as those superpowers. This is what a human body is supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of people, unfortunately, never will gonna experience
Yeah. You know,
that if they never try, give it a try. Because whatever, and that's what I tell to everyone, whatever you feel with your diet right now, and if you switch to vegan and you do it the right way, and this is like one of the biggest things for my book, it's really about a balanced diet. It's not about, okay, come on, we're gonna eat like vegan burgers and sweet potato fries every single day. No, I mean, of course it's vegan. Like fries vegan too, but it doesn't make them healthy.
yeah.
You know, you have to feed your body, respect your body, and work out and just really move your body and just use your body, but you have to give it something back, but the right way, and not like going out and getting all the processed food that you can possibly get.
Mm-hmm.
Get it, go out there, get a connection. Like, this is for me, when people ask me in general, what have I been doing like all of these recipes for so long? For me, it's like really, you know, it's easy. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you just open? You know, it's a good idea. I might even do that in future, but my biggest thing is that I want to see people being more connected with food. And the only way you get connected to food is to take your hands, to take a knife, a chopping board, and start cooking.
Mm.
Period. Like, this is how you get connected. What's in your meals, and then like, if I could picture a world how it's supposed to be, it would be probably everyone has a yard. Doesn't matter how small it is. I'm actually going to interview soon a guy who has a company here in LA, and he helps people with like small backyards to plant
Yeah.
vegetables and fruits, like in really really tiny spaces. Like, isn't
Mm-hmm.
that amazing? Those people
Yeah.
can
Yeah. It
feed a
is.
family of like 5 people, like, daily, with those little tiny things that they planted a few months before. You know, so for me, that's like the biggest thing, where the perfect world will look like: you plant the seed, You harvest the plant or the fruit or the vegetable, whatever it is in that case, and then you cook it. So the cycle closes the moment you eat it. Like you did something and then you get something back. Like this is how it's supposed to be. And then you sometimes go to the store and get things that you need on top of that, right?
Mm,
So you live with the seasons. You eat food that nurtures you, and even like the spiritual factor. I mean, a lot of people, in my opinion, don't understand what it really means, how much pride you have eating your own homemade meal.
mhm.
It like even the feeling of eating what you cooked yourself.
Yeah,
I'm not even talking about stuff that you harvest
that you
yourself,
harvested.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm talking really about like cooking your own food and then eating it. That you're so happy, and you're like, like for example, sometimes my roommate when he's like very interested and he cooks sometimes, and then I help him out here and there. Hi Jesse, if you ever gonna watch this, I love you. You're the best roommate ever, and he does it a lot. That he asks me things, and I always tell him like, I can show you how you can do that yourself, and he's like, okay, cool, let's do it. So I help him out to prepare his food, and then he sits there, and his eyes are like big, and he's so happy, and he loves the food. And I'm like, see, it's not because the food is good; it's just because you made it yourself.
Hmm.
You have a connection to what you're eating, and then you happen to eat less because you really you're not just like eating out of like because you're not happy or you're like frustrated or depressed. You eat because you nurture your body. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, there's something that's circulating in my head is that because there are people that follow me that listen to this that aren't necessarily
Mhm.
plant based. If you're
Mhm.
listening to this right now, I just want you to hear the foundation of what Krissy's saying. And I think that whether you are plant based or not, you can't deny the fact that what you're saying is the way that it's supposed to be. You preparing your own food in the perfect world, in the best scenarios possible. Everyone would be able to harvest something or go somewhere where there's mass harvesting taking place of foods locally, because that's
Totally.
what it always was. It wasn't what we're dealing with today. And as you
Right.
go deeper and deeper into veganism, and as it starts to extend past the animal side, because I do think that the animal side is like one thing that is so like so spoken about. Of course there's the environment, of course there's the moral side, of course there's the health side, and it goes
Right.
even deeper to what people are taught about food now. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're taught that faster is better, that easier is better, that what I'm saying, save time, get it quick, get result, and what you're talking about can get lost
Totally.
sometimes. and,
And
and
it
I
is most of the time lost,
yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, and I can't really explain it to people that um don't understand. Plants literally make me happy. Like chopping a
For sure.
salad, like seeing the colors. Sometimes I'll just be so drained and I'll be like, I need something green. The people are,
Totally.
what's up? I'm like, I need something green. Like there's the energy, you know what I mean? It's so I completely, if
Totally.
you're listening to this and you're not feeling the vegan side, you have to identify with knowing that that's how you're supposed to eat your food,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
somebody's trying to take steps to do what you're talking about, right? What are some
Hmm.
things that they can do? What are some things that you suggest people start to do? Like, I don't know how to cook, I don't know what to look for. Where can they start? Where in the conversation? Because again, you guys got to understand the conversations that Krissy's having are with some very high performance people. What have you found to be a place that people can start mixing that with your own experiences?
Definitely following recipes. Seriously, like thinking of what is it that you like, and is that what you like actually good for you? Because of course, if someone says like, "Oh, I like actually fries," and I actually like burgers,
Well, of
all
course you
right,
do. That
that's
shit
like
is
some.
amazing.
I mean,
Like,
of course, exactly. We all like it,
but
right? Uh, but and that's what I do. I eat everything from pancakes to ice cream over burgers to pizza. All of it, all of it. I just do it in a better way,
mm-hmm,
in a healthier way. So
yeah,
let's say instead of making your fries in a fryer with like lots of oil, just use a little bit of coconut oil, olive oil, and just make them in the oven.
yeah,
Done. Like the first step, right? those
Mm-hmm.
try to make your own patty. Like patties are super easy to make. I make always like 15 or 10 at the same time, like at once. It takes me literally 20 minutes, and I
Mm-hmm.
just freeze all the rest, and then you can just you can put it out, put it in the pan, and that's it. You can bake it in the oven, or you fry it with a little bit of coconut oil, and less oil is always a good idea because
Mm-hmm.
I personally think we're not meant to eat so much fat.
Mm-hmm.
All the fat that we're meant to eat is through, like, in my opinion, through seeds, through avocados, things like that. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, here and there for cooking, but I try to avoid it as much as I
Yeah,
can. Um,
it's always going to be better for you to consume your fats through
right,
nuts and seeds and other
right,
sources. And we always say, well, why would you go to olive oil when you can just have the olive? I always
right.
like to use, even if there is going to be an oil, like avocado oil, a lot more benefits than olive
Totally.
oil,
Yep,
or
totally.
coconut oil, which has
Have
just
it at home
a
too.
ton of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Perfect. And that's like what I always say. And then the other thing is, like, for normal people, whereas like that's the biggest difference in my opinion between normal people who have like a normal performance and people with high performance on a daily basis, is that their calorie intake is a completely different one. Obviously, you do a lot, you eat a lot. You don't do a lot, you eat
You
less.
don't eat it. Yes,
That's
literally.
it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it is.
literally.
Like
Yeah,
when people always tell me like I can't lose weight, I always look at them. I'm like, well, because you have a wrong understanding how much energy your body really needs, because it doesn't probably burn that much. Not probably, it just doesn't burn as much as you take. Like if you have a higher intake and like your body performance is lower, then you will gain weight because that's what your body's going to do. It will store,
mhm.
right? So that's the thing. Like there's no such thing. That's science. There's no such thing. No hormones. Nothing in the world that's going to prevent you, in my opinion, if you're not sick, really. Um, um, because I think there are like things, a disease that where you can really not um gain weight or lose weight or something like that, but it's a different story. But in general, if you're a healthy person, then if you eat less than you burn, you're gonna lose weight. If you
Mhm.
eat as much as you burn, you're gonna keep your weight. If you eat more than you burn,
Yeah.
you're gonna gain weight. That's physics. I mean,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah, 100%.
that's that. So I definitely think that people should just look into, and that's why I think like there's so much knowledge behind it. Like if you make a smoothie, how much banana do you put in? Because that's sugar too. For like a person who
Yeah,
works out, they need
yeah,
the sugar. They need that energy because they're gonna go. And the other thing is their calories that they burn by even sitting next to you is higher than you. Like
yeah,
whatever they do, because they have those muscles like carrying
yeah,
around who constantly need to be fed. They need calories like way more than you do because
yeah,
you have less muscles, so you have like way less energy like that you need
yeah.
in order to maintain or your
The
and
style of
sustain
your the style
your
of your
muscles.
training, the
So
frequency that you train with, all of that plays into how
yeah,
much you need to be
right,
or not or should not be consuming.
right.
So yeah,
And the only
100%.
thing, like literally, what I always say to everyone is just like eat something, calculate your calories. Even though I hate calculating calories, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
a person who doesn't have like really performance goals should not, in my opinion, do that. But in the beginning, it's a good thing to understand how much you really eat, because I feel like all the serving sizes that they give us or they put into our brains that this is a normal serving size, they're way too high, way too much. A
yeah,
person doesn't even need to
yeah,
so much food. And there are studies that actually show that people who undereat are healthier in long term than people who overeat.
mhm,
So of course, you don't overeat if you burn your food, but
yeah.
if you
There you
don't
go.
burn your food, then you will. That's like your. Think about it. Like the more you eat and the less you burn, your body works more. It's a machine. It's
Yeah,
like a car. If you use your car a lot, um, it's good for the engine maybe to use it a lot in a certain way, but if you overuse it, it's going to break faster, right? So I feel
yeah.
under eating, I'm not saying eat nothing or something, but just have a
Right, right, right.
healthy relationship to food.
No, people need to
Don't go
understand
and
that.
calculate.
No, go ahead,
Sorry.
go ahead, please, please. Sorry, sorry.
I feel like I feel like it's horrible when people next to me say like, "Well, I'm gonna order salad because
Yeah,
even if you have one day more to eat, you can make up for that.
yeah. All right, so I'm recording again. We only had a couple
Right.
questions anyways, so um
We're back.
we are. Um all right, so we're back. We had a little technical difficulties, but and then we had some issues with the link, but we got it now. We're good. We're good. So picking up where we left off, I was gonna ask you, um, you know, so far of what you've seen, all the information you're gathering from your book, what do you hope, you know, the change will be that you can invoke, or just what people will take from all the information that you've kind of put together in the philosophies that are in the book.
So the book definitely is also what I did not talk about. We'll also get lots of informations about how our body's going to cope with different ingredients, and then what we actually need, what specific ingredients are, how to come up with new recipes. So we'll have lots of knowledge about those kind of things as well. So it's definitely going to be like, we want to create a foundation that has that actually guides you, not only just gives you recipes, but also explains why we use the certain ingredients in what way. And maybe there's a smarter way to combine certain seeds and certain vegetables because your body gets certain vitamins and minerals that it can absorb better. Like, we all know, for example, if you have coffee and you eat some, and then you eat iron, or something, like you eat something that has iron because you need iron, your body has a harder time to um like adapt, like, or to how to say, like, that English word, English, not my first language.
Yeah, not your first language. That's okay.
um, to absorb
Okay,
those
okay,
minerals and
all right.
vitamins, right? So it's kind of blockages. And blah, 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 blah.
Don't worry. We listen. We understand you. We understand
Okay, awesome. That's what I love about people who speak English. They never judge you the way you speak.
you. Yeah,
Never.
yeah,
That's what I love about you guys. Americans are just amazing
yeah.
in that
It's
matter.
funny too. The
Seriously.
English language just has, like, I remember being overseas, and a lot of the kids and stuff would ask me questions about words, and I would be like, man, it must be so confusing because we have so many words that mean the same thing but also mean the opposite thing. So,
Right.
but
Totally.
so
So yeah, so yeah,
it
it will definitely have that. And so my goal definitely with all of this is, and this is like what my heart really beats for, to show people, to
awesome.
prove them, to give them a base. You can do it.
I
They
like it.
do it, and that's the result, and you can do it too. And I've been doing that. A lot of people have been doing that, and people who done that, they don't regret it. Who People who's done it the right way don't regret it. And here's the right way. Here's one of the right ways.
Yeah.
There are plenty of different right ways.
For sure. I like that you mentioned that they're gonna learn like the reason why, because I feel like there could be a lot of
Mhm.
recipe books and it's just like, hey, here's our philosophy of cooking and these are the recipes that we like
Right,
to do and here's what you need
right,
and get to cooking. But I think explaining to people, hey, listen, this is why these foods are used. This is why, we've approached it this way. Hey, this can help
right,
you, if you're getting started. So I think that's great.
right.
Going through this process, have you like what's the experience been now that you're kind of looking back on it? I mean, kind of getting closer and closer to coming to an end. Like, have you kind of changed a little bit now that you've had, like, these conversations with these people who are doing it a little different, giving you a different perspective?
That's a really good question. And to be honest, and I literally don't know anyone who makes all the things from scratch the way I do. So I know exactly what is in my food. But what I learned, though, what I love the most is definitely how to reach certain body goals if I set body goals.
Mm,
Like, I just want to feel fit and and but if I want to build more muscle, it definitely changed a lot of like my understanding about cutting and like, I mean, I don't need to gain weight to do anything. And like, for example, if I want to cut, that how, I mean, it makes all sense to just reduce your carbs, increase your protein, but back in the days, I really thought, well, but isn't everything that's vegan, like that's a protein except a protein shake? Doesn't it have carbs?
Yeah.
So I was like always confused. Like I never understood because I would
Hmm.
still eat very healthy and would feel very great with myself and everything. But I would just look at them and I'm like, I don't get that.
Yeah.
So that's like the first time. I mean, of course, it has a little bit of carbs, but not really. It's like mainly protein, right? So those carbs, they don't really count them 100% as carbs, kind of like that.
Yeah. I know
So
what you mean.
that's definitely changed my understanding because before that, I just really did not understand that,
Yeah.
which is funny, but yeah, now I do.
Who are some of the people before we go? Who are some of the people that are being interviewed or that you plan on interviewing still for the
Like
book, so
Tori, for
people?
example, Tori, and I really, really like I had
Troy
um
Washington.
yeah, I have I can like let me know the names. Um some people that I really, really thought were amazing. I had like this one thing who was also in the Olympics. His name is Hinshun Shui.
Okay.
Hinshun Shui. Like he's amazing, and he's only 22. And then of course Tori, and then Monk was one of the big ones. And then I had like that's a funny thing. I have so many big ones, but I don't know the name.
Yeah. 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 No, that's awesome. Well,
Um, then we have like, but they're like people all over the world,
all over.
from
Yeah.
like
Yes. It's like some
literally
you know and
all
some you
over.
came across like me. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
I like
exactly.
it. Well, I look
Which
forward
for me is
to
even
seeing.
more fun. But which for me is even more fun, to be honest, because those people are already big. They've been doing that for a long time. They have their following, and those people have like only like not only, but still a lot, but like 10,000 or 20,000 followers. Those people are starting to grow, and they're starting to build the path of like the way they look and the way they transform their bodies. So for me, it's
Mhm.
going to be interesting to see in the end of the book what changed in that time, and maybe speak even the second time with them. So
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Well, man, I'm glad that we got to, to have this, chat and, talk about your product or your project. I'm super excited. Is there like a time frame that people might so it is what is it, April right now that we're having this conversation?
April,
When do you think it's gonna be
yeah,
out?
fall.
Fall, okay. Well, maybe
That's
we'll
what we plan.
release
So
this
it's
in the
still
fall,
it's
who knows?
yeah. It's still like a lot of things to do. It's still like a lot of people to interview, and I
Yeah.
really want to have a great base of people who they can even turn to. Like people who we're gonna name in the book and introduce in the book, and like real people, right? Where people who come like who do those recipes, because a lot of things it's easier. It's a mindset thing. You want to do it with people together. Maybe even
Mhm.
do like webinars. Maybe even like build like Facebook groups where people can support each other by like following those recipes, ask questions, or even like reach out to you guys as a
Mhm.
like maybe someone wants to have a health coach, and then
Yeah.
besides the whole food thing, wants to go and work out and doesn't know how, and like things like that. So that's definitely the goal.
Well, awesome. Well, Krissy, again, thank you so much for being on. I'm so glad to get to chat with you. And yeah, I look
Same.
forward to seeing everything that you put together.
Thank you so much, Marcus. Thanks for having me and asking me all of these questions. It was so much fun. I always thrive like talking
Of
about food.
of course. We overcame the technical difficulty too. So no, thank you
Yeah.
so much. And yeah, I'll be following everything you do. All right. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Hey guys, Marcus here. Listen, I'm so appreciative of you guys coming and checking out the podcast. Thank you so, so much for taking your time to listen. And if you know someone that this would help, please share this podcast with them. Help us to reach as many people as possible and make a serious impact. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you get alerted when every new episode releases.